So the exhibition follows my I call it like a London timeline. I'm born and bred in London. And so things I've seen and witnessed and worn, and my friends wore in this timeline. So I started from obviously the beginning, which is like the 80s, casuals, went through to hip hop, through to rude boys, to bold and bashy. We went through tech, went through grime, we went to innovation, retro boom, digital hype, which is sort of internet, collaborations, and ended up at like celebrity culture, so where we are now. Each section is a visual representation of what I wore, the things that I loved, the things that I saw people wearing. So I thought the best way to do it is break it up in sections and tell the story through the clothes, the shoes, and the gadgets, etc. So here we're in this casual section. It was called casual because, you know, it was a group of guys in the 80s to wear like designer gear. Obviously they started off their style going to different countries in Europe, picking up different, you know, expensive labels, coming back, peacocking them basically, you know, showing everyone how expensive it was, but how classy it was as well. It wasn't just about being brash, it was about being like the nicest, cleanest stuff. Working class gentlemen. You get dressed up at the weekend, you want to wear your best stuff. So things like, you know, Cabici, Benetton, Sergio Tacchini, Alessi, Fila, they were like the main prime targets, you know, for casuals. That's what my cousins were into. You know, Benetton was a big thing for them. This rugby top was like almost like, you know, the trophy. If you had this top, you know, with a pair of Diodoras or whatever, or a pair of Gazelles, you know, you're top boy on the street, you know. And not everyone could afford them, but they figured out ways of getting them, you know. I don't know how, but they did, you know. My cousins did, they worked hard. With the Gazelle, I remember my cousin having blue socks all the time, white socks that were blue. And it's because he wore Gazelles, and they ruined his socks, but he loved the shoes so much, he was like, I'm keeping these shoes, man. Because they're top boy shoes, no one's got these shoes. And there was a lot of suede shoes at the time, and a lot of leather as well, but I think the royal blue was like, was the colour that was popping the most. How I came into hip hop, how it found me, should I say, was through the TV. Watching Malcolm McLaren's Buffalo Girls video and watching the Rocksteady crew, which is these guys here. This was their first records, which I remember buying straight away when it came out. And Americana hip hop just hit me straight away. This and Africa Bambaataa, you know, Soul Sonic Force, that electro, it was just totally different. You know, it was like almost like black punk. You know, I mean, it was just different. These guys just had so much style. It was just the way they danced, just the way they dressed. It was just an awe of their style. And from then I was like, I need to have what the shoes they were breaking at the time. I remember in one video they're breaking in the Nike Vandal, which is this shoe here. And I had to have it, man. I had to be the first at school to have this shoe. It was like, I've got to have this by any means. You know, it was really expensive, I think, at the time. But I managed to persuade my mum to give me half the money from a paper round to get this shoe. And yeah, from then I was just like, all the elements of hip hop, you know, from graffiti to DJ and breakdancing, I did it all, man. You know, I wore the pants, you know, I wore the shoes, did the graffiti. You know, when we did the graffiti, we used to like wear Converse. And the reason we wore Converse was that as you're running along the tracks, rubber soles, if you touch the rubber soles, you're good. You're not going to get electric shock. Some of this stuff here, you have to know someone in America, and luckily enough, I had cousins that emigrated to America like in the early 80s, and I used to send them letters. You know, my cousin Denise, we used to like pen pal each other, and I had to send her a photocopy from a Nike catalogue of these, the Air Force 5s, and I managed to get them in like 2 colours. And when I got them, I was like king of the road, man. No one had these shoes. I was like untouchable. Same with the Coca-Cola stuff. I remember getting the Coca-Cola stuff. Some of it from America, but I remember there used to be a shop in Bond Street which you could get the tops and bottoms, and that was a big thing as well. That was, again, you had to be first. You had to know where to get it from. Like the Gucci stuff, couldn't afford the real things. The bootleg was like the way to go. No one cared as long as you had it. So this section called Rude Boy, or Ragamuffin, used to call it back in the day. It was like the dancehall influence. Reggae dancehall was like infiltrating the radio, man. It was coming over almost at the same rate as hip hop. But then back then you were either a rude boy or you were a hip hop head, and it was very, very much sort of like a little battle. If you're a hip hop head, you seem a bit of an idiot, you know, not embracing your culture as much as if you were being a rude boy. So Rude Boy kind of had its uniform as a mixture sometimes of America, which was the shoes, but then we sort of, almost like the casual culture, we took the European labels and made it our own, you know. When the pants were too baggy to show off your shoes, we used to do a thing called the pin roll, which I know for a fact sort of came from Jamaica, because I used to go to Jamaica in the late 80s, early 90s. All my cousins were doing it with one leg up, pin rolled, and to ride their bikes, you know, so the chains don't get caught in the trousers. And it just came over here, and people obviously bought the trousers bigger size possible to get that sort of baggy effect and show off their shoes. The Huarache we used to wear, you know, with no laces, just bottom of the shoes, bottom of the trousers hanging. MX90 bright colours were coming in. We were picking up ZX 8000s, 90s. Just, you know, expensive labels and bashy shoes, basically, like really flashy shoes. That was the thing, you know. This thing here, man, this was like your badge of honour on the back of your pants, you know, on your cords. Like if you had chippy, then like, you know what's up, you know, you're a top boy. So the click suit, for me, it's very close to like the dance hall, I think. It was more of a smart dress kind of thing, go out to party in the evenings. A lot of the guys used to have like jumbo cords with like Clark Desert boots or wallabies. The American Vikings was a thing. They were like a cheaper version of Bally's. You couldn't afford Bally's, and Vikings were a good substitute. So Bold and Bashy was about being more flamboyant, with, you know, crazy illustration jumpers, large prints. Before we sort of got there, we were sort of this introduction to like designer labels like Paul Smith, YSL, Ralph. You know, the silhouettes became a lot slimmer. Like these jeans are like a perfect example. Like this is like no patterns here, but down here is where your flashing notes are. You know, shoes quite subtle. Reeboks, you know, the ZXs and the Air Maxes came away. It was like spending more money on your garments rather than your shoes. So like throwaway shoes were a bit more. Because you would wear like white Reeboks to a dance, get them trashed and buy another pair tomorrow. So it was more, that was the way to go. The other things were coming in, like mobile phones were coming in. Flashy cars became a big thing, you know, like Renault 5s and Fiat Turbos and Golfs. They became good status symbols, you know. Versace sunglasses, jewelry became a big thing. Champagne era as well, I'd say definitely this was a champagne era where things started to get like a bit more flossy, you know, and less a bit about your heritage or, you know, what educational things and music. It was just more about flashy, you know. And that sort of spoke in the clothes as well, like the jumper here, the crazy Snoopy, the iceberg with the large prints, you know. Averex jacket, you know, £500 jacket back in the 90s was silly money, but now, you know, now it's like, it's whatever, £500, what £500. TNs again came in at the right time. This is more or less the tail end of the 90s, but it was flamboyant. Again, you know, it married well with what's going on here. The more you can match, obviously the more, you know, the more dap it gave you, you know, more props people gave you. I saw people do the hat, the shirt, the waistcoat, the trousers. And funny enough, leaving the tags on, I don't know why. I used to go a lot of carnivals and see guys in like the same outfit, which was quite good, quite funny. But I like that, taking something that's, they don't really want you to wear, but you make it your own, you know. And I think that's what Bold and Bashy was. So here we start to become a bit more tech. I'd say with our clothing, a bit more technical, baggy jeans, looking at Japan, especially for denim. It became this kind of thing where I think I saw like the first wave of like trendies, especially in Soho. Trendies were creating their own little carve in the culture. So we had like things like the you know, the Air Rift. I saw a lot of people starting wearing those, the Maharishi pants and the cargo pants. That became its own little thing. And this became a lot, I would say, more starting off club culture. Again, club culture started off in the late 80s, went to the 90s, but I think around 95, these shoes were so apparent in so many different colours, you know. The Evisu jeans, one of my favourite things. The Evisus with 95s and 97s was such a big thing, man. The price point of the Evisu and the denim was obviously well made, you know, Japanese salvage. Tell you what, probably thinking 50% of the people didn't even know what a Evisu was or where it came from. It was all about the big E at the back. ACG, I started to mess around with ACG a lot in the last sort of 5 years of the 90s. ACG was a big thing. technical gear, mixing it up together, making our own. Obviously it wasn't made for us, but making our own. I think a lot of that came from America as well. Starting seeing things like ACG being worn in like Source magazine, on a few rappers, with obscure stuff, like with the Zoom Cetic and the Zoom Citizen as well, and the Spiridons as well, which no one actually liked at the time, which is funny. They were like a cheaper version, or poor man's version of the 97. But for me, it was a great shoe. I picked them up. These are originals, by the way. These aren't retros. I would say the 97 is one of the first shoes I think I was searching for on the internet for different colours. It was when the internet just started to creep into people's homes. You know, before I was going to libraries or you know, friends' house to see what's on the internet and downloading web pages from Japan, seeing what different colours of like 97s were available. And there was, I think it was the black and green, which was available in Japan, but wasn't available here. So I think this is one of the first shoes that also sparked my obsession with like hardcore collecting. It was a 97, for sure. So in the late 90s, you still had, you know, like I call them your trendies and your media guys, were doing their thing. But in the cities, you know, kids were making music, you know, with consoles and over instrumentals, you know, and just tired of. I think they were tired of listening to hip hop. I think hip hop was like struggling a little bit. I think the guys decided to like MC themselves, MC their own way. Again, the influence coming from probably their Jamaican heritage or the reggae influence. They started to rhyme their own way, and that's where we had like Grime. And Grime for me is like one of the purest musics from UK, like one of the last ones, I would say. And these guys, you could hear their struggle in their music and their rhymes. And the clothes they wore were the everyday clothes. They weren't trying to wear clothes to impress, but most of their clothes were everyday clothes. But to do that, they still wore it in a way that was flamboyant. You know, so you had like the best. You know, where are you going to start first? The best Air Max, you're going to start at your feet. So Air Max was like, you know, your entry point, and the next entry point was your hat. You know, and then if you could go even better, you do a full tracksuit. I think the influence of Grime today is come back from those guys that were really young. Obviously had older brothers and sisters or older friends, and now they can go back on YouTube and they can look through the internet and see what they wore. And you know, I think wearing stuff that they wore as a kid, especially for my younger cousins and stuff, it kind of like gives them like their own ownership of something. And I don't think anyone else can take that away from them. I think they can own it, and we can keep it going. We can spread it now. We have the tools to spread it now. Back then we did, but it wasn't like very easy to use, you know. So I think Grime it's been accepted now. For me, Grime again is like represents DIY culture, which I think is lost a little bit. And when these guys used to do their own like DVD, you could buy in a record shop. I can't remember the name of the shop, but I used to buy them in Soho, and see these guys battle, you know. And it's like you want to watch a battle, you know, but it's the only way you're going to hear the rhymes, man. You know, internet wasn't that easy to hear, you know. Where are you going to upload anything? There was no uploading anything, so CDs were the way, you know. And you can make money from selling CDs as well. You're not going to make any money just sticking it on somewhere to stream, you know, back then. So, yeah, it was DIY, man, DIY. No motive behind it. Let's just try something and see how it works, you know. And it's kind of like the old dancehall tapes I used to see from Jamaica as well. I used to have Ninja Man battling Super Cat, you know. Cousins had DVDs of those, so it's the same kind of mindset. So now we're at a retro boom. An interesting, I would say, era for me. It was an era where shoes were being reissued at such a pace. You know, it happened now and again. It wasn't even called a retro, it was like another colour. But I think the brands started to realise that sneaker heads, you know, wanted shoes that they couldn't find. The vintage collecting, you know, boom was beginning on the internet. People were buying mad shoes on eBay, paying crazy money for it, and decided to give people what they want. You know, you had forums and people were talking about, oh, I wish they did this shoe, I wish they did that shoe. And obviously they took note to a lot of what we said. So shoes like the Huarache, when this came back in 2000, limited edition colour, which they sort of did previously in the 90s, came back. It was a mania for this, you know. You had to be connected to get this shoe. You had to know someone in, you know, in America or Japan. The Michael Chang pumps, again, shoe I don't think Reebok, I thought they would never do again, but they did. You know, pump technology was only like kept on new products. It wasn't done on, you know, retro product, but they actually did it, which was great. Jordans, they started to play around with retro, so we'll do the shoe again, but we'll remix it a little bit. The black cap was one of my favorites. You know, all black Jordan was a dream, and then when they did it, I had to have it. Guys sneaker fans started to do like their own t-shirts. The culture was growing. Sneaker culture was just becoming so big. The web was like bringing everyone in. Everyone was like funneling into these forums. Cortez back then, when I got these, I couldn't find Cortez, and a friend of mine got these in Japan for like little to nothing, you know. But when I wore these here, it was like, I've never seen that. Basically, I was saying that. Where'd you get those, you know? Concord, the shoe, I used to just look at it on the internet. On 2 websites, I had the picture of it. Never saw it in my life. And when they retroed it, I had to get it. Basically, retro was an opportunity to get something that you missed. I think that's what was great about retro, you know. Sparked off, you know, Bobbito's book, Where'd You Get Those, where he talks about sneaker culture in New York, an education on where these shoes actually originally came from. Probably one of my favorite books. If you call yourself a sneaker collector and don't have this book, shame on you. You should have it. So now we're in digital hype. The reason I call this digital hype, like these were the shoes and the objects that just word spread through the internet, basically. We were no longer looking at magazines or books. The internet was the funnel for all the information, man. So the Crooked Tongues, which was like probably one of the best sneaker resources website, got to say. Broke news on new product that was coming out, sold product, and it was a community-based website. It was a sneaker resource, basically. In this era, we had shoes that were just coming out from Japan, like the Dunks. I'll say like the Japanese and the guys in America sparked the Dunk era, you know. We had the SB culture. People just collected like crazy SB stuff. Shout out to Sandy Bodecker. That people went nuts for paying. This is when the money was coming in. People were paying big money for shoes, and that's where the name hype came from. It's like, what are you willing to pay? You know, you wear this, people are going to be like hyped on what you're wearing. So that's where, to me, it came from. It's like internet was the spark, man. Was the spark of all of this. You know, Undefeated, the Stussy collab. Stussy was one of the first new collabs that I saw in the UK. Where I saw people actually queuing 10 deep for with the Stussy Dunk and the Blazer. And this is where it started. We did start doing called parallel trading, where if you had a friend in New York or a friend in Tokyo, you would send him shoes from London, and he would send you shoes that you could only get in Tokyo. Same again in New York. So we had this parallel trading thing, and that's where the community grew. You know, because shoes were only sold in locations that you couldn't get. So now you can get everything everywhere, but it wasn't like that before. So we're in a section called collabs, and collaborations. The ones I've sort of picked out are the ones that, when these brands first started, I didn't think that brands would actually collaborate with these people, or brands, as I see them. A lot of them are friends of mine. You know, watch the brands grow. And a lot of brands that are here, I think, are the ones I sort of appreciate as well. And I have a lot of respect for mutual respect. Like the Stash ones, for me, a brand wouldn't do an SMU like this, special makeup. They wouldn't produce something like this for JD Sports. So collabing with someone who's an artist and giving them like almost free reign on something kind of helps the brand show that they're actually aware of actually what's going on. For me, the Power one is something that I love. It was a collab that I thought I wouldn't see Nike doing. You know, someone asked me that 10 years ago, I wouldn't see them doing a collab like this. The colors, the fabrics, the execution. So now we're at the celebrity. I think celebrity is really important where we are now. I think celebrity is almost like a rule, what kids want, what they listen to. You know, like the athlete is no longer the key figure now. You know, kids aren't really interested in athletes to a degree. Celebrity culture is at an all-time high now, and people are actually watching what celebrities are wearing. You know, for Instagram and showbiz news and music videos and whatnot. So when a celebrity gets a chance to do a shoe and does it well, it can have a good effect for that brand. You know, it shows that brand is in touch, shows that celebrity is in touch. And if they work with someone who actually knows about shoes, or I should say has good taste, rather than say knows about shoes. It can work. And you know, when they did the first Yeezy, I thought it was quite good. You could see that there was little details of shoes that obviously he liked in the, you know, in the past. You know, but it's, you know, it's a different take on sneaker culture. It's a different direction. You know, it's more of a cut and paste rather than innovation. But it's using technology in a way for the lifestyle. Now we're in lifestyle. Celebrity is lifestyle. Sneakers have become lifestyle. They haven't become, you know, performance figure. Now it's a lifestyle product. You know, so this is where we are.